Hey everyone, it's Ish here with Growing in OKC, and today we're in my garage because we're going to be doing an episode on transplanting plants from their original store-bought container into newer, bigger containers to give them root growth. Now before you think that this is just another episode of transplanting and you could tune out now, stick around because I've got a special tip for you. So why don't you come in here and we'll show you some of the things that we can do while transplanting our plants. In order to have a really successful transplant, you need to first soak the plants in water, and I also poured it from the top up as well, for at least 10 minutes so that the root ball can get really good and thoroughly drenched. When I transplant, I like to make sure that I'm not just going to have to transplant again in a couple of weeks. So I like to choose containers which are larger or large enough that I think that the plant can live in until they're ready to go outside. The only problem is that when you buy a pack of plants like this at the box store for $1.74, they're not just going to be able to live in that for 3 weeks. So using some little planters that I have from last year from larger plants that I bought or that were given to me by my mother-in-law because she buys a lot of flowers, we're going to go ahead and just prepare by putting in a bunch of soil. One of the other things that I really like to do with tomato plants, because they do grow so well from the stem, is I like to just pinch off some of the bottom layers of growth. For a lot of first-time growers, this is going to seem really drastic, but for tomatoes, and really only for tomatoes and a few other things, this pinching off process will actually encourage more growth later on. The tomato can be planted all the way up to the very top and it will still form roots anywhere that you can see these tiny little hairs on the bottom part of the tomato. And again, a couple more pats and the soil settled just a little bit. There we go. This container will be good enough for the tomato plant to live in as long as it's getting adequate light and adequate water until the season's warm enough where I no longer have to worry about a frost. So we'll set him aside and we'll start doing some of the other plants. Okay, we were also able to get a couple of little bell peppers in a 4-pack for $1.74 each. So when we transplant our peppers, we're not going to be nearly as abusive to them as we were the tomato plants. We're going to leave all the leaves intact, and we're not going to bury the stem of the pepper plant. Okay? Even though the pepper is in the same family, the nightshade family, as the tomato plant, they really do not like to be bothered too much. There you go, and as always, we're going to give him just a couple of taps, and there he is. Just a light, firm. And that's transplanting a pepper plant. Here's the difference between how we transplant our pepper plants and our tomato plants. See, the tomato's buried all the way up to the green, whereas the pepper plant stem is left alone. anytime you go to a box store and you see 2 plants like this, you're getting a great deal. Now, unfortunately, the people at the box store that I bought this from seem to think that this one, 4-inch plant or whatever is worth $6. I vehemently disagree, and that's why I'm going to teach you this trick. Okay, if you notice, I chose a plant with 2 main stems coming out of it. The reason why I did this is because when I go to transplant these 2 plants, I am going to separate those 2 plants out. If either one of these plants dies, Home Depot and Lowe's both have full refund guarantees, where if your plant dies within like 15-30 days or something for annuals like this and fruit plants, they will refund your money. So I've got the chance of planting 2 plants for $6 as opposed to 1 plant for $6, and if one of them dies, then I'm going to get my money back. What I'm not telling you to do, because it would be unethical for you to do this, is just to kill one of these plants and then take it back and then you have a free plant. I would not do that. As I said, that's unethical, but if you can have both of them survive, then try to do that and try to plant both of them. And so that's your pro tip. Well, everyone, that's it for me. I've got to get these guys out to the backyard and give them some water, give them a nice drink, because I'm sure they're thirsty. But I wish you all the best at transplanting your plants, and good luck growing in OKC or wherever you're at in the country.